Alright, I want you to watch this.
This is Japan's cheapest capsule hotel, a first-class sleeping pod, and a capsule bed in a library. And I'm gonna travel around Japan to stay at all of them and more for the next 100 hours.
And now I want you to watch.
So we're in Tokyo, Japan, and for the next 100 hours, we're gonna be forced to stay in some of the most unique capsule hotels Japan has to offer. Let's do it. From robots that check you in to capsules that watch your sleep patterns, there's even a sleeping pod that's hidden in a library.
Look and sound awfully similar, don't they? Brent Rivera, an iconic American copycat, internet personality, has been running rampant on the internet for probably not the best reasons. From calling the cops on another YouTuber filming a similar video to quite literally copying videos damn near bar for bar.
I built a $25,000 dream doghouse, and this is him taking the exact thumbnail from Zealous, who actually took this from another creator as well.
So for an up-and-coming YouTuber like myself, I try to steer clear of people in this similar fashion. Not to call out any more names, because today we will be talking about a lad named Brent Rivera. Although I do like to stay in the know and consume the tea, because people like this actually give me hope in this game we're playing called YouTube. Not because he's been creating since the Vine days and has amassed over 100 million followers across all of his socials, but because it proves that even some of the most successful creators in the space really aren't all that innovative as, well, we think they are. If you're still confused, watch this.
I've got a notebook and I'm gonna go to a fancy restaurant and act like a food critic. Let's see if they treat me any differently.
I have a notebook, and I'm gonna go to a fancy restaurant, act like a food critic to see if they treat me any differently.
So first things first, and I want to preface this with a little insight on Brent's background, because above being this bona fide scumbag copycat, he actually has a pretty impressive social media resume. Getting his start on the infamous Vine app, along with the likes of Logan and Jake Paul, Lele Pons, and even David Dobrik. And well, that last one didn't age well either. Back during the Vine days, it was almost like every idea was a unique idea. So it was easy for a young Brent to amass over 8 million followers until the platform nosedived to distinction. Fortunately for Brent, he made the wise decision of parlaying his audience over to YouTube, Instagram, and now TikTok, where he's amassed over 100 million followers in the past 10 or so years. Love him or hate him, you have to admit that is quite impressive. Except knowing that a majority of his content is completely stolen. For example, and to be honest, what put me onto this case in the first place was after watching a Kelly Wakasa video of him reacting to Brent copying him. Alright, that sentence made no sense, but just keep watching.
A unique perspective and, you know, do something different. That's why I really thought about how I wanted to do the thumbnail by holding her like this. If she was comfortable with that, I remember shooting it. And then before we even get into the video, the thumbnail itself is the same as mine. And you might be thinking oh, but there's also the world's tallest man on the right. Well, I also did a video with the world's tallest man, I don't know, 6 months ago, less than a year ago or something. Same format, and that video also did well. So I don't even blame him off the bat.
Alright, if you understand anything about content creation, especially on YouTube, you would know that the title thumbnail packaging is by far the most important part of the whole process. It's what people see before they even click on your video, so you can have the craziest, sickest video ever, but if your title and thumbnail packaging sucks, then nobody will see your crazy sick video in the first place. But thumbnails get stolen all the time, and you can only come up with so many variations, so I can almost justify this. Regardless, let's continue.
The exact same thing that I did. You kind of could have just done something a little bit different, even exchange the chronological way of doing it. It went of course, meeting Jyoti, but giving her merch right then, which is the exact same as I did in the same order. Then getting pizza, which is the exact same thing I did. And then going shopping, which is the exact same thing. I mean,
exactly. You can do something else. The merch plug, okay, fine. We all gotta make money. But the pizza and then straight into shopping, dude, come on.
Obviously, there's not infinite things you can do with Jyoti or whatever, but you could do something else.
Like Kelly just said, there's so many things you can do for this video. You really couldn't go shopping before the food? Or maybe get Chipotle instead of pizza? Okay, maybe this wasn't exactly the greatest example, but there's so many alternatives of the same problem that Brent Rivera is a flippin' copycat.
Biggest heart, and that's
What the shit? Brent just said, Jyoti definitely is the smallest woman in the world, but she has the biggest heart. It's word for word, bar for bar, flow for flow. Exactly what I said.
She might be the world's smallest woman, but she definitely has the world's biggest heart.
Okay, that right there is exactly what I was looking for. Granted, it's not the craziest coincidence that they both came up with that same exact line, because like, it's a good line. She's obviously short, and parlaying that with the biggest heart is just a fun play on words. But knowing Brent's past, you know it's not a coincidence. Regardless, this is an insanely common occurrence, and just about everyone and their mom can become a victim of a copycat. From TikToks to thumbnails to full-on YouTube videos, where does it stop? Well, unfortunately, I just don't think it does. Because even referring back to the Kelly Wakasa video,
I have a juicy question. What's your love life like? Oh, she's blushing.
Like the question about the boyfriend, yeah, I asked her the same question. I mean, doesn't everybody want to know that? So it's to his audience.
Kelly even acknowledges that obviously everybody wants to know what the shortest girl in the world's love life looks like. It's an interesting question and can't be directly appointed to plagiarism due to the sole fact that they have different audiences. Kelly's audience probably doesn't consume much of Brent's videos and vice versa, so it's a valid question to ask on both sides. Hence why I don't think copying in general will ever stop. There will always be the juiciest questions to ask, and I feel like it's justified to be asked due to the differences in audiences that every creator has. Just like how Brent copied the video from the intro. Spending 100 hours in sleep pods in Japan is such a captivating idea, where Drew does his audience is probably gonna differ pretty widely from Brent's, giving Brent the justification to copy Drew's video. Where, don't get me wrong, I don't think any of this copying, justifying, plagiarism, any of this is cool in the slightest. I'm just trying to understand where Brent is coming from. Although on this example itself, the thumbnail similarity it's just insanely comical. But come to find out, Brent's not even the only one to copy this thumbnail bar for bar. I've never heard of them, but I guess the Stokes twins are onto Brent's shenanigans as well, and clearly works for them too, because they have 62 million subscribers. Maybe I should start taking some pages out of Brent's book. All in all, do I think Brent is a thief with an enlarged ego? Absolutely yes, but I am not going to be the one to blame him. He's been doing this for a number of years, has been called out by a number of creators, has yet to apologize, and still rakes in tens of millions of views. So at the end of the day, why would he apologize if he just keeps getting away with it? It's almost like the timeless saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So I think it's up to us. And I'm not sure why I included myself in us, because I've never voluntarily watched a Brent Rivera video, but I think it's up to the audience of YouTube to stop supporting his copycatting and maybe start supporting creators who do their best to come up with their own ideas. They stay true to themselves and create authentic content in which YouTube was originally built on. So yes, especially if you made it this far, please subscribe.